Today we're going to do music notation in GarageBand. It's going to be something that we can use in Final Cut Pro and Logic. We're going to take the music, sheet music, and turn it into a song that can be used as a band file, that can be used and imported into other applications, and the instruments can be changed and everything like that. So we're going to do music notation. We're not going to import a file directly. We're going to write the music that already exists really, and turn that into a file that we can use later on. We can change the instruments, we can change the tempo and things like that. And we're actually going to have the notes. First we have our music open. This can be a PDF file or a JP2 file or any type of image or picture file. As you can see here, we have a cover page which will give us the name of the author and everything like that. Battle Cry of Freedom. This is the Southern version, I think, on the Confederate version, but it doesn't really matter because the tune is the same on both versions, and this is not as complicated perhaps as some of the other songs we had. So first we're going to want this to be big enough. So now we can read our notes. And as you see, we have two clefs, and we have a sharp here on each of the clefs. So that sharp appears to be F sharp. So first we're going to come into GarageBand now, and we're going to make a new song called Battle Cry for Freedom. Now that's not going to be the most difficult thing in the world, but first we're going to decide, okay, I've already got some songs, new project. This new project's going to be songwriting, choose, and you might think that makes it obvious if I just do songwriting. I'm going to call this one Battle Cry for Freedom. I'm going to save it as a band file. Now I've got the choices here, the signature, 3444, 120 beats per minute. I'm going to keep it at 44 for now, for a reason I'll show you in a bit, even though this may not be a 4/4 song, so I'll keep it at 4/4, create. Now the reason I'm going to do that is to keep these things simple as possible, so I can create a simple way to make the song. So now up here I have instruments. I've got a piano. If you see on our GarageBand Battle Cry for Freedom, I can software instrument master track, so I can go down to the bottom right. If you look on the bottom right, my mouse is turning around on the very bottom right of the GarageBand interface, which isn't the very bottom right of the screen. There's a circle thing. When I keep my mouse over it, it says View, Hide the Loop Browser. So if I click that, and I see this list of loops. Now I want to go down on the second column of all the loops. I have a piano. The reason I'm doing this is so I have something to start off with. So I can go to... It doesn't... Now, as you see, a lot of these, the beat tempo is going to be different than the other one. That's not going to matter that much. But if I go to our measures now and change it to, I can change this to anything. I want to change it maybe to E flat major or something. It doesn't really, but let's say I change a signature to 3/4, they all of a sudden disappear. So, or if I change it to 2/4, they disappear. So I'm going to keep this as 4/4. As long as I'm actually using and drag some things in here, and this over here will say the key and the tempo. I can change all those, but the 3/4, 4/4 apparently doesn't work as much. So I'll just take something like the pop piano here and a piano, and I will actually make two pianos. So I'll do that by going, there's on the bottom left corner now there's a plus and there's a scissors. First I'll hit the plus. I'll make a new software instrument, create, and just going to be another piano, right? Well, here it says grand piano. I can change what that instrument is. But what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to drag something into that one as well. So I'm going to go into my grand piano, go back from software instrument, go to my bottom right again, and click on my loop browser again, and drag in Southern Rock or something like that. Now as you see, I'm not taking much time in picking which track I am doing. The reason is because I'm just using the track as something to start off with. I'm not actually going to use it very much, so I'm going to drag it out into the full length of the song eventually. Now I'm just going to show you the first few bars. So I'm going to take my piano, it's on pop piano, and I'm going to completely change it. Look at that scissors down here. You see by the plus on the bottom left. Well, now we're going to use the scissors. Now it's at piano roll. Now if you're used to writing on piano, this might be useful, but the thing is we're actually copying from something that's already been written. So in that case, I think it's more useful to actually, instead of using all these things with foot control and stuff, go to score instead of piano roll. You see on this part that appears and disappears when I get the scissors, on the top of that bit, which is about a third of the way up the screen from the bottom, there's a choice of piano roll and score. I'm going to put on score. Now that I have these two, when I have all the instruments I want and I have something in their place, I'll actually go ahead and go to the bottom middle, this bit, this blue bit, where there's a bit where I can choose the modes. I can choose a time, measures, chord, or project, and normally it's on measures, I think, by default, or it could be on time depending on how your setup works. I'm going to pick project. Now project's got the key, which you could say, okay, there's E minor, is that our key? Doesn't look like it. We're doing sharp actually, major. Most of the ones from about 100 years ago we had a key, but anyways, you can see every time we change a key these bunch of flats and everything change, so we can keep on toying with that. Now that's not, now as another thing that I've had problems with, so let's say I'm doing this, right? And I'm not copying these right now, but let's change the signature to 3/4, and now all our options disappear. So we're on the signature we want to be on this one actually is probably 2/4. So our notes just move along often is what happens, and we have 2 beats here to the measure. In the old songs, it won't tell you the beats all the time, but if you know a little bit about music, you can see how many beats there are on the measure. There's this is actually 4/4. This one. No, actually here down here it looks like 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 3 beats, but then there's a rest. So it is a 4/4/1. But this is important, the 2/4, 3/4, because a lot of the other songs, the old waltzes, if we were doing an old waltz, it's going to be 3/4. So a lot of the old and modern music as well, 3/4 and 2/4 are very often used. 6/8 might be used in some of what we're doing. So this is, and the tempo can be changed. This is like beats per minute. When I say I want a certain number of beats per minute, we won't use the words beats per minute. Instead we use words like andante and whatever, because we don't necessarily want to change the tempo in the whole song. Especially when, classical music doesn't have one tempo, but you use the tempo, whatever tempo you think your song's going to have. So if you want it to be a bit slower, you put it to 87. But as again, I'm saying we're not really going to be using the tempo on this until we're done with the music and say, does this sound too fast, sound too slow, unless the musician actually specified tempo. Major and minor, our tempo, and now we can put the songs. Now we have some music here that we can manipulate to be a bit quicker, but let's say we don't want this music. Let's say we want our top one to be a dotted quarter note. Now it's not letting us do that if we just press enter. We press command enter, and it's not really changing the note for us. So we're going to have to actually go select, by clicking down and dragging, selecting a bunch of notes and just deleting them. Now we have our dotted quarter note, and we press command on the keyboard, command, click, command, click. So we got our 2 dotted quarter notes down here. Now let's say on the bottom, and that's on the treble clef, let's say on the bass clef, we wanted a just regular quarter note to begin with. It's working for now, but sometimes there's a little quirk. Sometimes when I do this, it's actually working this time. Which is really annoying because it usually doesn't work. Maybe it's because of my tempo or whatever, but sometimes GarageBand will have a quirk where you have the dotted quarter note on the top band and the other note on the bottom band. And in that case, that's why we created two pianos over here. In that case, I make the top one the treble clef, and also so I can drag down and everything. And I'll make my bottom piano my bass clef. And that way they aren't linked to each other. So I can just delete the music that's already here by dragging and clicking, and it'll be all rests. And as you see, it goes down like this. If I want to write down further, I just drag and click this out. Okay, so it doesn't match, of course. So what do I do here? This is my top piano, which still has some stuff. So my top piano, I'm going to look here and say, okay, to begin with, on the first measure, this is a weakness of a simple out-of-the-box GarageBand. Is your first measure is usually going to be a full measure rather than a part measure. I mean, there's ways, I think, to change all this, but we're not going to go into that detail at the moment. I don't know it at the moment. When I do know it, we can get to know it. There's some things that look like they're actually mistakes on the manuscript over here. You can see two treble clefs on top of each other. We're going to just treat the bottom one here of these two as a bass clef left, the voice clef. We might put that in as another instrument, another treble instrument, if we want to hear what the sound of the voice is. So we'll have three instruments, one for the treble clef, one for the bass clef, and one for the singer. And remember, to add in music, it's command and click. Command and click. Okay. Well, that's it for now. We can do some more of this later. Okay, thank you for watching. So you can see, say that. Once you're done with that, we go File on top, and we save. And we've created this. We're going to save it as a band file. The band files can be imported to our other formats, so it's not a problem. It can be imported to Logic X, which we might be using later, and if not, we can use these band files on other people with GarageBand. So we're going to make some things in band in that type of file. Okay, thank you for watching that.